quite confident about it as well. I think the market's got this completely wrong.
Hello and welcome back to another Let's Talk Racing video, and a very, very exciting one at that. Our first Punchestown preview. We're going to mix it up. We're going to do two videos throughout the week. We're going to do one covering the first 3 days where we have more entries, more decks, and then one midweek so we can get the Friday, Saturday decks and get into a few of the handicaps there. I know you have a few already on your mind for Friday and Saturday, so the viewers will be anxiously waiting for that. But Josh, the last national hunt season of the year, or of the season, you know, good racing at Punchestown, but it is a bit sad. I know you were sad when we did the Sandown video last week, but this is even more heartbreaking.
This is the final straw. Like Galway's very good in the summer, but I don't think it's anything compared to Punchestown, and you just have to embrace it, remember it, and take it with you until the October meeting next year.
Yeah, exactly, and look, we'll try to find a few winners to finish off on. As always, we really enjoy all of your support for the channel. If you could like this video, if you do enjoy it, please go and do so now, and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. It really helps us with our support and also reaching wider audiences, which is what we ended up starting this channel for. So if you could do that, it would be greatly appreciated. But we'll move on to the Tuesday action, and the first race on, or the first grade 1 on Tuesday, is the novice hurdle over 2 miles. Small but select field. Probably appreciated not running was a bit of a shock to some, but Willie Mullins still has Echoes in Rain and Blue Lord. Seems to be between the two of them, Josh. Which way would you be siding?
Blue Lord, I think. I think he'd have finished second in the Supreme Novices Hurdle if he didn't come down at the last fight, and you can make the excuse that, you know, tired horses fall. I'm quite confident about it as well. I think the market's got this completely wrong.
Very hard to quantify Echoes in Rain, I thought. She looked like an absolute nutter earlier in the season. I remember she took off with Danny Mullins in the Moscow Flyer. She's been much better the last twice. I felt the Fairy House run, though, was very much flattering. You know, the Devil's Coachman didn't run his race, a few of them didn't run their race, and she ended up miles clear. Interesting that Paul Townend rides Blue Lord, though. I can't get away from that myself. Paul Townend will be desperately looking for winners this week to secure the Jockeys Championship, and I think he might get one here with Blue Lord. I just think he has a bit of the edge. As you say, he's been campaigned like a seriously good horse without potentially showing all of it. And I still feel there's improvement to come with him.
That's the type of profile that you like, I think, in the back end of the season. They're horses that, you know, people thought a lot of at the start. Maybe disappointed ever so slightly, but still campaigned very aggressively to be a top grade 1 performer.
Exactly, and he's been facing Appreciated and Bob Ollinger this year, you know, two of probably the two best novice hurdlers of this generation. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes down, well, not down in class, but against not as competitive opposition. I'd be going with Blue Lord myself. Moving on to the Champion Chase. A stunning race, this Chacun Poursois Allaho. Your friends the Skeltons have made this race by bringing Nube Negra over. They could have won the celebration chase. They haven't. They've been ballsy, and I've got a newfound respect actually for them after this call, because this is what Irish racing wants. I think English people have it in their head that we don't want challengers over, but the likes of Nube Negra, Clan des Obeaux, Goshen, potentially Epatant, makes this week what it is, because it does bring those Cheltenham clashes back to the forefront. And Nube Negra obviously finished ahead of Chacun Poursois in the Champion Chase. Will you be siding with the home team of the Skeltons, or do you think Chacun or Allaho, or maybe even something else, will get the job done?
It's a really fascinating race, and the addition of Nube Negra makes it more entertaining and more exciting. Fair play, like you say, to Dan Skelton. I think he'd have won the celebration chase with Nube Negra if they'd gone there. Chacun Poursois, Allaho dropping down to 2 miles. I just can't have it. I cannot have this. Up against a top notcher in Chacun Poursois. Look, he finished 3rd in the Champion Chase. It was a bit disappointing. Maybe he just didn't get up the hill or didn't like the track. I think that can be excused. Before then, he looked like an absolute weapon, a monster, and he was so short in the Champion Chase. They obviously thought he was an extremely good horse and a real big chance to give Mullins his first Champion Chase, which sounds ludicrous. Allaho stepping down to 2.5 miles and being ridden aggressively, fine. Stepping down to 2 miles, I think that's a That's one step too far, in my opinion. I think Chacun Pour Soi would reverse the form in Nube Negra, especially on home soil. First flow, I don't know why they're sending this there. It would need a tidal wave, a tsunami to hit Punchestown for that thing to win. Chacun Pour Soi, he's a favourite of ours. Will you be going to will the midnight tipper be visiting the church, praying for justice?
Yeah, well, I could well be bringing that out this week again. I must say, tonight, if people want to follow me on Twitter, you could get something like that. But look, I really want Chacun to win. He'd have been the horse I'd have loved to have won the most at Cheltenham. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen. I'm still struggling to work out. He just ran beneath himself. I don't know whether it was the track, whether he was just on an off day, maybe a combination of both. I think he is a bit better than that. Still though, like, I believe Nube Negra should be a lot shorter in the market than he is. And you know, I've been a little bit snippy about your skeleton horses throughout the whole year, but this horse is a quality horse, and you could argue that Punchestown is actually going to suit him better than a Cheltenham would, based off his performances in the past around the likes of Kempton. But I would be siding with Chacun Pour Soi, but I'd be very interested if betting was available on it, on a match bet between Nube Negra and Allaho. And I think Nube Negra could well beat Allaho. I love Allaho. I backed him for the Ryanair. But A, I think he's better at 2.5 miles, and B, all of his best performances have come around Cheltenham, and he doesn't seem to be quite the same horse elsewhere. So Chacun Pour Soi to beat Nube Negra for me. And it's not as if we go from that into some dud novice chase afterwards. Simply just the 4 runners in the 3 mile Dooley Insurance Novices Chase. Envoi, Monkfish, Colreevy, Franco de Port. Before we just get into it, I do want to say with Colreevy, she's being covered by Walk in the Park. She is going to be retired after this, and she's been a brilliant mare this season. I just feel in all the hysteria it will be almost forgotten about her. But she is an excellent horse, and best of luck to Connections with her breeding career. But Josh, it's Monkfish or Envoi. You do have to be in one of the two camps. There's no sitting on the fence on this Let's Talk Racing panel. You've got to pick. Who are you going for?
I think Envoi is the more talented horse out of the two. And that's saying something, because we're talking about Monkfish here. I think, on the other hand, Monkfish has had the preparation. And we know that he will stay 3 miles. I don't doubt Envoi will, but we know Monkfish will. Monkfish didn't fall last time out at Cheltenham. I'm going to side with Monkfish. I think that he has the preparation. I love Envoi, this hurts me. I think he's had the preparation. He was disappointing at Cheltenham, but still won that race by 6 lengths. And it's latest exhibition, a hero of yours probably would have won that race.
Oh jeez, it's like seeing Harry Skelton commit 3rd time lucky at 3 out in the county hurdle. You're there going, oh no.
He's done nothing wrong. He was impressive at the Devon Racing Festival over 2 miles and 5 furlongs, so he's speedy as well. I'm going to side with Monkfish. I just think that he's the more solid profile. And if you're having a bet in a race like this out the two, look, we could easily say, oh, just sit back, watch the race. But if you're going to have a bet, what's the more solid option? I think it's Monkfish. We don't know how Envoi is going to react after the fall. It didn't look a really hard fall, but you just don't know with the changing of stables as well. That's another factor to put in there. Monkfish. What about you?
2 words, Envoi. I'm keeping the faith, and I actually agree with almost everything you've said there. But I'm just going to take it on the case that I still think Envoi. I went into the season thinking he was probably the best horse in training. He's been campaigned interestingly. They probably kept him away from the likes of Monkfish. If anything, because I know this horse was trained by Gordon and he's now with Henry, but it was funny. Usually with these types of horses, you'd have had Willie not ducking and diving, but going that slightly softer route, and a Gordon horse going to the Dublin Racing Festival, to Christmas at Leopardstown and stuff like that. So very interesting to see how these horses have been campaigned. But he's just a quality animal. 4-runner race, I don't think that will expose his jumping at all. I can't see any issue with 3 miles. People want to pick holes in him at 3 miles. I can't see any issue with it myself.
I wasn't picking holes. I was just simply saying we don't know for a fact that he stays 3 miles.
Yeah, no, I wasn't saying that on you, but there seems to be a lot of people out there that seem to think there's no way in hell he'll stay 3 miles, which is what he's bred to do, what he's been bought to do. So it'll be a brilliant clash. Look, I don't want to build it up too much. I feel whenever everyone builds something up so much, you get something tragic happens, like the Envoi Styrian Furlonge race earlier in the season, and somebody departs early. You just would love these horses to be swinging in together, you know, jumping the last, potentially, you know, a half length between them, and see maybe who is the better one of the two going forward for next year's Gold Cup. I think, though, the only thing that annoys me about the analysis is that I genuinely think Monkfish blotted his copymuck just as much as Envoi at Cheltenham, because he was poor and he stumbled in to beat Fiddler on the Roof, who I think is still running around Aintree with the big breakaway in a race won by Chantry House, and Espoir de Rame would have been bang there. Like, he wasn't at his best. I understand he still won the race and all that, but if Envoi stood up, he probably wouldn't have been at his best and still won the race. I think they've remarkably similar kind of, not profiles as in Monkfish has probably achieved a bit more over fences, but they're coming into this race both having had little blips, and it'll be very interesting to see which one has maybe recovered their confidence that bit more.
It's going to be fascinating. I cannot wait. I think it's the race of the season. In my personal opinion, it's a 4-runner race. All these people crabbing small runners. Last year, you could argue Surname versus Altior was up there with race of the season. Now, Monkfish, Envoi Allen. I'm going to go Monkfish. You're going Envoi Allen.
And we'd love to know everyone's thoughts on it, but down below, because it is probably the most fascinating clash of the week. Are you in Envoi Allen's camp? Are you in Monkfish's camp? It's 1-1 between us two. And I love Monkfish. You love Envoi Allen, but you've got to make the call. And that's the way we've gone. If there was anything else on Tuesday, anything from the races we haven't touched on, a little betting opportunity, a big handicap winner for us, or something along those lines, do you have one?
Well, I felt guilty the other day when you asked me for that one big handicap pick at the end, the last race, and Killer Clown was nowhere to be seen, neither was Faranet. So I'm not going to make a massive case, but Magic Tricks in the handicap hurdle, I think he's 6-1. I think this has been a plan. I think he'll win one of the big handicaps. I've no doubt, and this is his last opportunity, so it would be him for me. What about yourself? Yeah,
clever currency for me in the opener. Hopefully get off to a good start. Paul Flynn and Dennis O'Regan, an improving 4-year-old, gets a bit of weight in his first handicap, won a maiden by 11 lengths the last day. I think he's got a great chance.
Moving on to the Wednesday, another fascinating clash. A horse that came out of the blues, but was a surprise winner of the Albert Bartlett. Vanillier versus Galloping Deschamps, the Martin Pipe winner. A horse that I quite like for next year's Brown Advisory. Chase Statler in there. A Gentleman Game, Tory Graft, Cross Hill. It's a competitive race. Who do you fancy in this?
Yeah, it's a very hard race at that. Very hard to quantify which form lines to take. I'm sure you're delighted seeing Galloping Deschamps being tried over 3 miles. Ahead of next year's Brown Advisory, and I think it's the right way to go, and probably of the ones right at the top of the market, he'd be the one I'd be staying with, just in terms of I really wasn't keen on that Albert Bartlett form, and I know Vanillier was extremely impressive, just wasn't sure what he was beating in behind really. I'd be taking on the likes of Statler, Street to Doyen. Look, I put up Gentleman's Game in that exact same video for next year's Brown Advisory. I was disappointed with him at Fairy House. Just thought he was a bit flat. Don't know whether it was the trip, whether he's had maybe a run too many, as in he had a very tough race as a young horse at the Dublin Racing Festival. Stepping back up to 3 miles though, I do trust Mouse Morris to know this horse well, and hopefully he might see him to a bit of better effect. I think he's 8-9-1. I'll probably play him each way. But I'll leave probably the Galloping Deschamps talk to yourself, because you're a massive fan of him, and I wouldn't be against anyone backing him, that being said.
So excited, the fact that they've stepped him up in trip in a Grade 1. If he wins this, the price for next year's Brown Advisory is going to be tumbling, and I'm going to be sat there with a big smile on my face. I'm going to make him my nap of the Wednesday. I think I really fancy him. I think he's got speed. He's been running over 2 miles all season, and I think that's been the plan. I think they wanted a handicap like the Martin Pipes, and they kick on and go over a longer trip. If you look at the horses that Willie's won that race with, the likes of a Don Poli, a Kilata Vic, they've all progressed into really nice staying 3-mile chasers, and Galloping Deschamps has got the profile to do that. He's a big strapping horse, a good looking horse, but travels really well as well. He didn't look like he was stopping at Cheltenham. I really, really like him. And look, we probably have to put a bit more respect on Vanillier. I would never have picked him in a million years in the Bartlett, but the Bartlett chucks up horses like that, and they usually go on to progress into really, really nice chasers. I would like to see that again, and fair and square. If he beats Galopin Des Champs fair and square, then you've got that confirmation. But for me, Galopin Des Champs.
Yeah, I think a fair point made though with Vanillier. I've probably been a little bit overly critical of the Bartlett, but if this horse, like back in when Manella Indo won the Bartlett, I think an awful lot of people were going off, well, was that just a flash in the pan? He came to Punchestown and confirmed the form. If Vanillier goes and does that again, he's a seriously nice horse to take forward into next season.
The next race is quite a good one as well. It's the Punchestown Gold Cup. The only time I've ever been to Punchestown was when Ruby went out on Envoi and retired. So I thought I might never go back. I probably was there for the best day it's ever had, or one would be up there as well. One of the most memorable days. Manella Indo, the Gold Cup winner. Alboom Photo, Gold Cup third. How does that sit with you?
I wasn't overly disappointed. He ran his heart out. His jumping just left a bit to be desired on the day. Manella Indo jumped that bit better. He jumped better than A Plus Tard as well, and was a deserved winner. The only reason I'm going to take him on again and hoping for a little bit of revenge for Alboom is just that he's had a pretty hard season at this stage, Manella Indo. You know, he's coming into this will be his 6th run of the year. As these competitive 3-milers go, he ran twice in 2 now small field races before Christmas, then fell at Christmas. Not an overly inspiring run in the Irish Gold Cup before winning the actual Gold Cup. So he's had a tough enough year of it, and potentially it might be just one step too many. Alboom Photo gets trained year in, year out, 3 races in mind. This is the 3rd of the 3. I think he might be a hint fresher. That being said, he did have a very tough race at Cheltenham himself. I won't get away from that. I still think the 2 of them are well clear of the rest in this. Envoi, I still think saves his best for Leopardstown. Yeah, I'd be interested to know what you'd think though in terms of Envoi and Clan des Obeaux, because I'd have thought both of them would be there to pick up the pieces if something went wrong to the first 2. And I'd be interested to know which one you'd have more faith in, because the 2 of them are quality horses. They've won plenty of Grade 1s between the 2 of them, yet I don't find either of them massively trustworthy.
Clan des Obeaux out of those 2, I will side with Alboom Photo to reverse the form in Manella Indo. There we go. There we go. I thought there'd be celebration. Like you say, 3 days in mind, and with horses like that, you have to take that into account. There was 3 days. Clan des Obeaux, there was 3 days to him all season. It was the Betfair Chase, it was the King George, and it was Aintree.
Well, I'm certainly hoping that's the case. Look, I love Alboom Photo as much as everyone well knows at this stage, and hopefully there's one more big race in him. I'm not sure how they'll go and campaign him again next year. I'm sure they will go to the well again with the Gold Cup, but I don't know. You know, Monkfish, Envoi, you know, it will be a harder Gold Cup next year alongside Manella Indo and A Plus Tard, who are younger horses. So you'd think that maybe time is slightly running out for him at this Open Grade 1 company, and I'd love to see him rattling a Punchestown Gold Cup before this wave of novices takes over the Open company next year. So fingers crossed that Alboom and Shakan, if they both win, you won't be hearing the end of it.
Hashtag justice. That'll be what it is. The last race that we're going to preview on the Wednesday is the Bumper. A brilliant rematch as well. Kilcrutz Gerhard. Some people were quick to criticise Paul Townend and riding Kilcrut in the Bumper, and I think that was pretty fair. I'm sure if you asked him if you wanted to fancy riding it again, he'd definitely take that opportunity. I think Sir Gerhard will confirm the form.
Yeah, I think this whole thing with Kilcrut reversing the form is a complete and utter myth. Sir Gerhard did it the hard way in the Bumper, going from the front. It's a long old straight by yourself there. Rachel kicked him on plenty soon enough, and I know that might have been the winning of the race, but it could have easily been the losing of the race, committing a young horse so far from home. He showed bags and bags of stamina and ability. Be interesting to see how the jockey bookings sort themselves out here. I'd assume Patrick Mullins will be still on Kilcrut. He's been his horse all year. The one you've said, Ramillies, that might sneak into a frame at a big price. The one I'm certainly going to be keeping an eye on is O'Toole for Stuart Crawford. Simon Munir and Isaac Swade have quite eye-catchingly put a lot of money into that yard recently, including this horse that won a Fairyhouse Bumper by 15 lengths. I think he could be a really nice horse. He's 25 to 1. I'll be having a few quid each way on him, but Of the top two, I think Sir Gerhard and Kilcrush will probably finish 1-2, and I think it will be the same order as Cheltenham.
I keep switching between these two, and it's not good for me, or it's not good for my health as well. So Galopin Des Champs is my nap of the Wednesday. What's yours?
Yeah, I was actually quite keen on a Mullins horse in the auction hurdle that hasn't been declared this morning. So my allegiance has changed to Heather Rocco, who runs in the same race for Henry de Bromhead. Seems to be quite good going right-handed. Does seem to have a little bit of a quirk, but I think Heather Rocco could get the job done. Looks to be a bit above the rivals in this race.
We've got two races to preview on the Thursday. The Ladbrokes Champion Stayers Hurdle. Flooring Porter bids to go back to back to back to back. It may be the fourth win on a trot. He's been a surprise package this season. There's no doubt about it. He won the Stayers Hurdle. I think people were surprised that he was able to confirm that form with the likes of Cider Burley that he beat at Christmas, and he did it very convincingly. I thought he was given a peach of a ride, and he's an improving horse. He's only 6. Does that make him a pretty nice proposition in this, or are you going to take him on with something else?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of Flooring Porter, really. You know, I don't know whether it's just one of those, because I haven't been backing him. You don't know whether to believe it or not. I just don't know.
I feel he could win 8 on the trot on the 9th time. You're still going, is he really the one?
Yeah, I'm not sure. And also, what happened at Aintree with Time Hill winning has put further annoyance into my head, because just Time Hill would have won the Stayers Hurdle, I'm convinced. But that's for another day. Flooring Porter, I think, actually is a pretty good price in this. I think he takes a fair bit of beating. I would back him to confirm form with all those horses that ran against him this year. I suppose the fly in the ointment is Ronald Pump, and I know I've banged on about good old Ronald Pump plenty of times. He's an each way bet. He doesn't win. He's a heartbreaking horse, but he does have a lot of ability. He's a bit fresher coming into this. They've been targeting this race ever since a little blip before Cheltenham. He's, I think, 8-1. I'll probably play him each way. Mrs. Milner, I was kind of got the vibe they were 60-40 going to run in this race rather than the mare's race. I think she's got plenty to find, and I'm Paul Nolan's biggest fan, as everyone will know. I think she'll have a big task on in this. I'll probably have a few quid on as sentimental money, but I think she'd be outclassed in a race like this. So Ronald Pump for me each way, but if you wanted to back the favourite, I couldn't really put you off, because he's been absolutely superb, and maybe bar the fact that he does slightly hang to his left, which might be a little bit of an inconvenience going right-handed. Other than that, he looks fairly bomb-proof, I'd have thought.
Really don't know what to make of it. So in races like that, I like to have a small each-way play, and it might be something like the Storyteller or Fury Road. Don't fancy anything massively in the race, so I'm not going to try and kid you or convince you. It's just one of those. Let's move on to the Ryanair Novice Chase. Energumene is the 1-2 favourite. Envoi Alan is still in this. I don't think he's going to run. Captain Guinness, Embittered, Janadil, Midnight Run, Jungle Junction. Energumene 1-2. Is it that simple?
I think it probably is. It's not a race that captures my imagination.
You're going to the well with Captain Guinness.
I'm having a fight with myself over the last few days about Captain Guinness. I'm there going, like, the logical part of my brain going, like, would you just leave him be? It's like Fitzhenry. Like, he just won't win. He's a bit of an idiot. He tends to do things wrong. And yet there's another part of me that goes, good ground, he's shown ability, all of this. I don't really want to start betting without again, because I lose a lot of money doing that. So I think Energumene will win. I'm humming and hawing whether I'll back Captain Guinness or not, but I probably shouldn't. That doesn't mean I won't.
Who's your nap of the Friday? We want to finish this episode with a winner. No pressure. If someone's got their last tenner. Oh,
I tell you who they'll side with. It's in the opener. A very well handicapped horse that Gavin Cromwell's called 5 Helmets, running off a mark of 121. He's won his last twice. His jumping's coming together. He likes better ground, and he was an 80 rated horse on the flat. I think there's at least 1, if not 2 or 3 more wins in this horse. I really hope he gets the business done. And it's a competitive enough handicap, 80 to 123. He'll be near enough the top of the betting, but I think you might still be able to get 5-6 to 1 I think he's got an excellent chance.
I'm going to take a chance on Dallas de Pictons if he runs in the 3 mile handicap hurdle. He was 5th in the Martin Pipe. I think that Martin Pipe is good. The horse that, of Joseph O'Brien's that finished 3rd, Fleur, I don't know how you say it. I think he'll go close in the 2.5 mile handicap hurdle as well this week.
Hopefully between all of that we've found a couple of winners in the first few days of the action. We'll be back midweek to cover Friday and Saturday's card, and hopefully a few more of the handicaps there. We'll have to do a bit of soul searching to see whether we'll include the 2,000 and 1,000 guineas in that video. We may not. It'll be some real soul searching going on there.
1 to 8 now.
It's a sad old state of affairs when I'm pushing the flat racing on this channel. But no, we'll be back for Punchestown. The final few days of it, we're going to certainly make use of it while we still have it. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a like. Subscribe to the channel down below, and of course let us know your nap of each day, and most importantly, who do you think will win, Envoi or Monkfish?